Welcome back to Wake Up America. Tensions remain very high in Israel this morning, and right in the heart of it is our very own Greta Van Susteren, host of The Record. She joins us live from Jerusalem. Greta, thank you so much for joining us. First, I want to ask you about the terror attacks today. We're hearing our Newsmax Jerusalem correspondent Daniel Cohen reported about it earlier in the show. What's the latest that you're hearing?
Well, just that it's ongoing. We don't know when it's going to stop, obviously, but it was certainly a surprise to those of us who traveled here. We traveled here to cover, what was going on internally in Israel as well as the border. In fact, since we got here on Saturday night, there was a rocket from Syria into Israel, quite a distance from where I am, a safe distance where I am. And then, of course, now the news in Jenin, which is about 90 miles from Jerusalem, where I am, which is this broad-scale operation by the Israelis. Look, the Israelis are getting hit by terrorist attacks, so they went into the camp and they're ferreting out, finding the terrorists, and naturally, it is, gripping the news. Everyone wonders, will there be some retaliation? But right now, it's an ongoing operation.
Yeah, clearly response to the escalation fighting in the West Bank in the days. What are you doing over in Israel? I understand you're doing some reporting here for us at Newsmax.
It's always so much better, John, to come out and see it. I've been to Israel a number of times, but I come periodically. And on Sunday, we drove with the IDF, Israel Defense Forces, up to the northern border with Lebanon to see the tunnels that the Hezbollah terrorists, had bored from Lebanon into Israel. Now, there are 6 of them. 5 have now been filled with cement. They've been neutralized. And we went deep inside one. And the level of sophistication of the tunnels, there's electricity, there's communication. It's astounding what these tunnels are like, because whoever dug them, and it took a long time to do it, it shows the level of intent to sneak people into this country to cause mayhem, to kill. And if nothing else, the Hezbollah tunnels so far has been the most extraordinary thing to me, because you really do get a sense of what goes on in this country and how, the real dangers of living here. Look, Israel's in a neighborhood that's very, very dangerous. People don't like them. Iran has historically said I remember when President Ahmadinejad, no longer president of Iran, said he wanted to wipe Israel off the map. Well, that sense of wanting to wipe Israel off the map has not mitigated. You've got, Iran's funding Hezbollah. Hezbollah is building tunnels, digging tunnels to come in here. We've got the West Bank. We've got terrorists in the West Bank who are coming to Israel and creating terror. And you've got the many good citizens, the many good Palestinians who aren't part of the terrorists. But you've got all these groups of people, living together and, with an extreme amount of danger. Now, having said that, I've spent time in the old city that's right behind me, and I felt perfectly safe. But there are about 360 security cameras, which I'm not particularly fond of security cameras. I like, freedom. I don't want to be watched all the time. Mm-hmm. And you see people with M16s, soldiers, whether they're on duty or off duty, but you don't feel unsafe. But it's unsettling to have to live in such a sense, at least to be, for me, I don't live here, but to be here in such a sense of danger, although I felt perfectly safe in Jerusalem behind me. But that's a distance from where the fighting's going on.
Well, we have about 30 seconds, but we appreciate you going over there and sharing these stories and bringing them to our viewers. But what can we expect tonight on The Record?
We're going to talk to a retired general who's going to tell us about the operation. Obviously, what's going on, Jenin has shifted our programming somewhat because we cover the news. So you're going to see, we're also going to talk about the U.S.-Israeli policy, how the U.S. reacts to Israel. Look, Israel is important to the United States. I don't care, who you are, what you do in the United States. What happens here matters to the United States, and we're going to go into that.
Appreciate your reporting. Thank you so much, Greta. Stay safe over there. And again, Greta Van Susteren's The Record airs tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time here on Newsmax.